of water next to you and just enjoy. Take a big breath in through your nose, take it all the way down the center and breathe out. Some nice slow deep breaths. It's a very, very gentle sound, the tuning forks, but the vibrations it gives out is healing and to connect you to the light. So just taking deep breaths. If you have headphones or earphones, I do recommend. So everyone just take a few deep breaths now. I hope that you enjoyed that. I'm not sure if we're starting yet. If we're not, then I can continue. Welcome everyone. Thank you for waiting. I don't think we're going to be much longer. I'll play a little bit more until Sanjeev comes on. I hope that you're feeling calm and centered and connected to the light already and ready for our beautiful Satsang session. It's so lovely to see so many of you. I hope to see some of your faces later. So remember to take the breath in through your nose all the way down, and then take a lovely slow breath out and keep the breath flowing, and envision the light going all the way down your center. Okay, everyone.
Can you guys hear us? Hello.
I'm there.
Yes.
So can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us?
Yes, there's an echo though.
Yeah. It's okay.
One film has to be two mics on right. It's there, one is here.
Oh, okay.
So we have to come in.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I think you have stop that.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now can you hear me? So, welcome everyone. For a very good who's here, but let's get into it. So, so first of all, welcome online and here in person. We run this virtual meditation session every Saturday. This is just an extension. It's hybrid now, in person as well as online. So today, it's a privilege for us that so many people from India are here with us. And my sister, my brother-in-law, Sunil, are here. So it takes me back to 2018. I went to India for a Satsang in Hazaribagh, East India. And there, the topic that Sunilji took that day was Nivritti me Pravritti, Pravritti me Nivritti. And it was one of the tenets of Guru Maharaj's approach was that we can live in this world and be free. And lo and behold, all these years, Lisa Miller from Columbia University came out with a book very recently called The Awakened Brain. Now, this awakened brain, the title itself, fascinates. It's amazing. Just to see that somebody in the West is talking about what we live in the East sometimes very naturally, or while it's still a minority, I think the awareness and the pursuit of getting to awakened state is far more prevalent there, but still there's a lot more awareness and talking about awakened awareness versus achieving awareness. So one of the things in this book, it talks about that most of the time we need to plan, we need to organize, we need to live in this world doing lots and lots of things. And that we do through what she refers to as achieving awareness, the achieving mind. And that's very, very, very important. So to live in the world, what you need is achieving mind, achieving awareness, achieving approach, and that we are all very familiar. But then what she says is that if you stay only in that mode all the time, that we are only working towards the achieving state, then what happens is that what we're seeing now, that depression, anxiety, a sense that I am missing something. I don't have peace, I don't have lasting happiness, deep happiness. So what she talks about is that you ought to balance this. Even if you want to live happier in this materialistic world, you need to have the ability to switch modes. The achieving brain needs to be working as well for you. So don't just be in the achieving mode, you have to be in the awakened mode. So awakened mode and achieving mode, when both of these are taken into account, you can flip back and forth. Your ability to live in this world and feel more wholesome and complete at the same time becomes a lot higher. So just to get a little deeper, so years ago, probably more than a decade ago, somebody asked me, can I be ambitious and still be spiritual? And I wish I had this book, Lisa Miller, who actually started a mindfulness and spiritual practice at Columbia University. So, she talks about this in great detail in this book, The Awakened Brain. So she talks about this achieving awareness versus awakened awareness. So the achieving mind says, how do I get what I want? Right? How do I get what I want? This mode is requiring planning, organizing, striving, competing, measuring, executing. And obviously this is very, very important, right? So achievement is not necessarily enemy of spirituality. The problem begins when achieving awareness becomes the only awareness that we trust. Then life becomes a battlefield of control. Every person that we relate to becomes either useful or inconvenient. Every delay becomes obstacle. Every outcome becomes a verdict, and so on and so forth. So the awakened mind asks a different question. What is life showing me now? Awareness. Right? This does not mean that we abandon the goals. We stop believing that the mind's current plan is the whole of the reality. Awakened awareness widens the field. It allows us to see patterns, relationships, possibilities, meanings, and grace that the achieving mind often misses. So when the achieving mind says, I must force the answer, the awakened mind would react. And react is probably not the right word. In the context of the awakened mind, it will be, let me become more quiet, enough to receive. So instead of forcing an answer, you're receiving an answer. The achieving mind says, how do I win? The awakened mind says, what's the right way? The achieving mind says, I am making my own path. The awakened mind says, perhaps the path is also being revealed to me. So when I look at some of as I was referring to, Guru Maharaj talked about this for the entire century. And he had, kids. He was working and still traveled. And whatever he learned from his guru, he shared with everyone without any distinction, in the sense that anybody who came wouldn't be asked like where you were coming from, who you are. I mean, other than just for a conversation's sake. If somebody wanted to learn what he knew, he would absolutely freely share it. So, so if I could say that after reading this book and the approach, Guru Maharaj's approach would be that a life lived with honesty, detachment, discipline, love, and remembrance of God can rise to a higher spiritual ground, even if you are a supposedly worldly and materialistic person. You could be on a higher ground than a priest who merely performs outer rituals. And this is pretty deep. I have seen this in person. That outer role is not necessarily where you operate from, spiritually speaking, or speaking from a heart. So if spirituality takes you higher, then you operate at that higher ground. And if you're operating at that higher ground, you could be, a normal householder, you could be a student, you could be, a homemaker. You can achieve higher ground than a lot of people who have dedicated their life in seeking. So, and why go far? My father, who was more busy after, so he was, at the university in the chemistry department, an educator, had kids, and, so completely, totally from, if you look at him from a worldly perspective, a very worldly person, then I still meet people who, just saw him as a guide, a guru, a person who lifted them spiritually. And this happened, throughout his life. So all I'm trying to say here is that we don't have to be somewhere else to be spiritually at a higher level. We don't have to change what we do. An honest living is a good thing. Doing your worldly duties is a good thing. But you can still spare an hour for yourself, for your spiritual growth. And that's what Guru Maharaj talked about. That's what Guru Maharaj practiced. And that's what we will practice now. So, after the meditation, we'll open it up for questions and all that. But right now, the practice that he just suggested, do for half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening, just 1 hour. Forget about it. Be in that awakening state or seek that awakening state. And he gave the process through which you can be activating your awakened awareness. We'll practice that now, and then we'll talk more about the topic or anything. So it's very simple. Just we have to focus in. To get our attention inwards, there are just a couple of things to do. One, close your eyes lightly, because the sensory inward is minimized that way. And every time your body moves, your mind moves with it. We need to focus, concentrate our mind. So still and relaxed posture. So every time there is any strain anywhere, our attention goes there. So still and relaxed posture, eyes slightly closed. And then second thing you do is think of a conscious source of transcendental energy. And that energy is in form of light. That light is entering your heart, distributing throughout the body, and you are becoming one with this. If mind wanders away, bring it back to this part and this part alone. That this light is entering your heart, enlightening, and distributing throughout your body. You are becoming completely and totally immersed. Mind wanders away, bring it back to this part and this part alone. The transcendental light is entering your heart, enlightening it, and then distributing throughout your body. So that's all you do throughout the process. You can do other things before or after. We'll start with music. Music helps concentration. And then music fades away and we go deep into silent meditation on this transcendental energy. And then we'll transition out. Let's start.
has been in existence for more than 10,000. And in all those years, from time to time, one thing which has been very constant in all the times is that the man was looking for some happiness. Now, for somebody, the happiness lies in joy. For another person, it lies in beauty. Or there is somebody who enjoys nothing but traction. Or it could be in some sort of any other activity, maybe sports, maybe consumption of some drugs or alcohol. But one thing is true, all these things which make you think that you are happy are short. They are not permanent. Awakening is when you understand what and how you achieve permanent happiness in life. And to have permanent happiness, you have to look within. The source of happiness does not lie outside anywhere, but within us. And this, the great thinkers, philosophers, great saints, sages, they found out at different times and in their own way, in their own language, or in their own philosophy, they try to tell us how to achieve. Now, happiness is also connected with what we call religion. Because these great people, they started a way of living and a way of finding some superpower which runs the world. So they understood one thing very clearly, that we are just like powers. There is nothing much that we actually can control. We can only plan, but what will happen is not decided by us. It is decided by some other power which appeared on this entire universe. So we call it God. But then again there was we God. Why God? So why do we believe that there is a God? But even those people who don't believe in God, they believe in the power of nature. The US is the mightiest nation. And think, whenever the weather plays time in the US, when you have snowstorms and all, the electric lines are down for hours, days. What problem you have? Nothing. That shows that there is a superpower. And the people who do not believe in God, they believe in this some power which they call nature. Why can we say that they started those great figures, some ways of living or worshipping, and we call it religion. Now, religion can actually just tell you that there is some God, and whatever the great thinkers have written in their books or something, you can read them, sing them. That's it. Spirituality is the path that takes you. Spirituality is the path that will take you to the God, or will make you know that superpower. So religion and spirituality are two different things. However, despite the ways of worshipping or religion may be different, when it comes to spirituality, the path is same. irrespective of what religion you follow. I had a friend in California, and I think in sometime in 2007 or 6, I was visiting him, and he took me to a church, a very old 200-year-old church, made of wooden mountains. And I found those Christian priests were doing meditation. So I asked the head of the church, "Father, what sort of meditation you do?" And he said, "We try to listen." So ultimately, in spiritualism, you try to control your thought. You try to concentrate on the powers of mind. Mind is directly linked to your heart. Because the source of thought is not your mind, it's the heart. And from where your thought comes, what you are thinking at time will come from only two, three sources. What you read, what you listen, or what you see. That will be having a direct impact on what sort of thinking you have, what thoughts you have. And to control thought, the best way is to have command over your brain and your heart. And this is the path that Guru Maharaj had taught. He tried all sorts of methods because ultimately, when we say meditation, it is nothing but virtual. Whether it is sound, who are students of physics, no, or light, both it is a virtual. And you try to create a resonance with the vibration of the superpower. And that is what we just did. And this method, if we do every day, 20, 25 minutes in the morning and 20, 25 minutes in the evening, you will find it will change your life. We just make your life that you will cover and work on us so that we can proceed further on this path and achieve what we ultimately want to do. The super. So before
So is it on? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I should have. I didn't want to disturb, but goodness, technical difficulties. But let's before we wrap up here, let's see if we can have some quick questions or thoughts. Anything here?
Question. During the half hour that I'm here, you don't go that far. It won't go that far. You can get it. We can.
Yeah, you can come here.
So during the half hour I was here, I was trying very hard to concentrate and fidgety. Is that normal? Or is that from the practice?
So the question is, so I'm trying very hard to concentrate. And what's the result?
It was fidgety. I couldn't sit still. So
Oh.
it's normal. How could I feel that totally it's course, not me, but how do I improve that?
Yeah, so basically, I think the question is that while trying to meditate, if somehow either the body or the mind keeps wavering, how do we bring that on to, call it silence or stillness? I think stillness is the word. Stillness.
Or back to the thought you said before.
Right.
You implement it.
Right.
Yes. Can hear me, right? So, one of the terms that you are familiar with the Maharishi Patanjali's yoga process. One of the limbs is called pratyaha. And that is the process we are trying to say that if your mind wanders, you want to bring it back. Now, the two things I can say as first, what you said, it is normal. When you start something, this will happen. And your question about whether you can get to a better state, answer to that is also yes. I'll give you one example which you can observe. If you do any kind of physical exercise, you go to the gym, do swimming, for first few minutes, 5-10 minutes, you will find it hard. You don't even feel like doing it. But once you get going, have you observed it? Walking, swimming, doing biking, in any of those processes, two things you can observe for yourself. One, initially, you don't want to do that. But once you get going, you just want to continue. That's normal. That applies here. Okay. And what applies physically applies mentally. The second thing is, once the head is formed, then you want to do. If you are a person who goes to the gym regularly, and for whatever reason you don't go, you just doesn't feel normal. So once the habit is formed, that will help. The other 2 or 3 things I can think of is, and this is also you can observe in your daily life. Nowadays we are working remotely, but there are times when you used to go to office. Once you get to your desk, normally you get into a different mode. You start getting to the working mode. So what Guru Maharaj has said, he has repeated it many times. That one thing he says that you should have the consistency and regularity. Consistency in the sense, in terms of how, if you have to say 10 minutes, I will do this. Do it 10 minutes, but do it regularly. Don't miss it. That's one thing that helps. Consistency of place. And just I can tell you, I started doing it as a university student. So now 40 plus years actually. The place where you sit down to do this process regularly, once you get to that place, that is very different from when you are trying to do it any other cases. I think like you have these watches and phones these days, you appear. If you drive Tesla, you go to your regular parking place, it will start going into that mode, it starts holding your mirrors. Similarly, if you are doing it consistently and regularly, when you get to that place and that time, you are able to do it much more easily than I think to the long answer, but I hope that.
Yeah, one thing came to me was, talk about swimming, talk about driving. When you start, it's not in your reflex action. It's not a habit. So it feels hard. But if you take some guidance, do some effort, and get there, then driving is like any other thing. Swimming is like any other thing. But when you're beginning phase of guidance, I think quotable guidance. Yes.
Yes, so like practice doing this will make us better, but for beginner, so like you said, right, close your eyes, like so that one sense is gone. Like I try to see inside that cloud.
Yeah.
It's touching it. But still we have other senses like I was trying to inside, but many years ago I was able to hear the bird sounds. I was able to small things. So how was it like small things? Like is there a technique, something that we can avoid getting that, or how you do like when you were beginner, like
So the question is that in the beginning, to stop mind from wandering and listening to things should be, what should we stop? And I think I'll lean on Pradeep again, but what's coming first to my mind is, imagine this. The sounds that you are hearing now, when you're trying to meditate, you were not able to listen before. So your awareness is changing already. This, I way back when I was, decades ago, one of my uncles took me to a park and said, just sit quietly and listen to the distant sounds. I was so amazed. There were so many things I could hear which I would never, ever otherwise. So now what I think is when I close my eyes and sit silent, I can see and hear things that I would not.
I don't know. I think your question is about how do you the distractions that appear. So I'll say two things. One is, and this is once again, Guru Maharaj has described this very well, that he has compared mind with the horse. So initially, if it's a wild horse, when we're trying to tame it, it will make all sort of moves. But eventually, once it is tired, it will sit down. So this also we can, I think, related to the same. Initially it will have trouble, but then eventually it gets better. So same thing. One technique that is prescribed is that rather than fighting with the thought, earlier we were saying that you're trying very hard. Rather than trying to focus on that thought that I am trying to meditate, start observing what is coming to your mind. So you talking about earlier, you talked about that external influence, visual, audio. But when you close your eyes and you're trying to concentrate, what normally sound says, as Vaisala was doing, you are aware of other thoughts. Whatever is inside, there's a concept in, at least in Indian philosophy, sanskar. So those imprints that have been there, they get triggered because outside input, external input is not there. Now you are loading some data which is stored, and that is playing in your mind. Once you start observing it, then that is another way of helping those distractions, because you are not really trying to fight those thoughts. You just start and observe. Because of that, two things happen. One, you are not really, because you are not fighting, you are basically observing what is coming to your mind. Two, you are becoming aware of yourself. What is stored inside? When external inputs are not there, what you are experiencing is the thoughts that have been there. And then you can, it can also, I think it goes to answer and question that you didn't ask. Is that once you realize what kind of thoughts we have, you can then choose to retain some and get rid of others. What helps, you keep. What doesn't help, like a data quality, you don't get rid of the data, keep the data for better things. The other thing that I like is getting long, but I'll just say that one thing was the stop. But you can hear me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think, have you found yourself in a situation when you are looking at say sunrise or sunset or some just flowing water, then you forgot about all other thoughts. This is no different from that. And for that, if you have found a object that is so dear to you, and this is one of the techniques that is described here, that your guru or guide, your beloved, if you have found someone, thought takes everything away. Actually, and I'll quote once again, there is one of my favorite books from Satsang, where he describes that मित्र के ख्याल से I'll translate my heart has filled so much with the thought of my friends that there is no reason for any other thought. तो ना आपको सोच पे जाए सिनेरियोस दोस्त ख्याल और इस गुमशुद अज़म actually quotes a Persian poet. So that is another way of get into that state. Just that memory, that his remembrance, his or her remembrance carry take all other thoughts away.
So it's a mix. So on one hand, we are able to listen, but on the other hand, like say when you are reading a book, if you are completely absorbed in reading the book, you won't listen to it, won't hear it. So I remember again decades ago, there was in India, obviously there are a lot more people that, when meditation happens. So it so happened that the meditation was happening near a temple. And the time of the meditation, there was bells ringing. Right? Aarti was happening. And Panditji Maharaj, so he said that he didn't change the time. And we meditated while all the bells were ringing. He mentioned that the one who can meditate in the bells ringing is the real one. So, so eventually, when you are deep in a thought, everything else disappears. And that, I think, Maharishi Patanjali talks about is samadhi, right? So deep meditation, you're aware, you're not at this moment.
And in instructions of meditation, you talked about light. I'm curious, from where is that light coming from? Like, while imagining, what should I imagine? What is the source of that?
So, God, Guru, or whichever conscious source of light that you can think of.
From what part of Guru the light is?
So, it's heart to heart. But in a way that if I was looking at the source of energy, the transcendental energy in form of light, think of like a cosmic energy. Like if you look at the sun itself, so huge, the cosmic energy would be unfathomable. So it's conscious source, but the energy we're talking about is not, what materialistic energy we related. This is like the any energy source that we can think of, but in one. So, I mean, once you think of that, it's just to me, it is an energy source that we cannot fathom, but we want to see. And slowly, so when you focus on the Agya chakra in middle of your eyebrows, you see light and sounds and all that. But when you focus on the heart, like we do here, the heart center, you don't see all. The progress happens in a very stealth mode. So people say, like, am I doing this? Am I seeing this? Am I? So here, none of that is really happening. So it becomes a bit confusing, but still, our job is to connect with the source, think that light is coming into our heart and enlightening it. Once the awakened state comes, shows. So do I have to become one with the source or one with the light? It's no different. One or the same thing. Right?
Actually, if you see, don't have to make an effort to become one with them. You are able to generate resonance with the source. Your vibration will become the vibration at the same frequency. Without any effort, you feel one. That is first. Second thing, initially, when you are practicing, see, it is normal for anyone that your thoughts will run. Even those things which you have normally you will not think of. While you sit for meditation, you will start thinking of that. All sort of dirty thoughts will also come. But that is actually because your mind and heart is cleaning itself from the thought. So it's churning like a water machine. And with that churn, these thoughts are coming. The moment you think, oh, I was doing this meditation. What is this? I'm concentrating on this. Come back to where you start. Slowly, that meditation will become your habit. And then you don't have to see, basically, what is this treatment? Honey, that superpower, whatever name you call it, why you desire to be one with him or her, in whatever form you want to worship. If you just create resonance, automatically you will become one. Ultimately, you will reach that goal, and once you are at that goal, you will have permanent happiness, awakening, and despite having everything or nothing, you will have no desire. That is the state which we want to achieve. You are considering?
Anything else before we wrap up? So, Mohan, anything online? All right. So, thank you, everyone. All I actually, as a wrap-up thought, let me go back to the Lisa Miller's book again. I wrote a quick article. So Lisa Miller basically, surveyed more than 5,000 people, and across religions, across countries, across cultures, and found that people who try to meditate or become spiritual, they gain 5 things. So one is altruism. The best way to help yourself is to help others. So service, which Guru Maharaj talked about a lot, he said like that in itself can take you to operate at the higher levels. And then love neighbor as self, pure love as the highest realm, at the highest realm. So love thy neighbor is actually a condition or it's something that you achieve once you operate at a higher level. So it's not something you say, it's something you do when you are spiritually awakened. And then sense of oneness that we were talking about just now, that's the pinnacle of love. So oneness is all about being one with, so love just makes that happen. And I think Pradeep was talking about that earlier. And practice of sacred transcendence, meditation on transcendental light that we just did, it's one of the elements of, characteristics of people who are spiritually, awakened. And then adherence to moral code when practice becomes character. And I think you talk about yam or niyam in Ashtanga Yoga, or you talk about, how behavior changes for good. Since I was a child, I've been listening. Satsang helps you make your character, make your behavior much better. So all these 5 things I have lived through satsang, but it was good to see that some of these things are actually beyond religion, or they are common things that you can achieve if you are spiritually accomplished. So on that note, let's wrap up this session. We'll continue to have some immersive weekend, more sessions, through the weekend. But love, light, and peace be with you, and see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.